The Legend of Zelda. For those unaware, The Legend of Zelda is an absolutely beloved franchise from Nintendo that tells of the never-ending struggle between Link, Zelda, and Demise, typically embodied by either a pig named Ganon or their Gerudo form Ganondorf. This is one of Nintendo's oldest legacy franchises, dating all the way back to the NES. This series has undergone a lot of changes, with many long-term fans claiming that later iterations of the series became steadily more linear as the franchise went on. The latest original entry of the series, Breath of the Wild, was something of a return to form, or rather, an idealized version of the original vision for the first Legend of Zelda. This idea is well known about the game, given that it came out almost 3 years ago and has been covered extensively online due to its popularity. What else is there left to say at this point? Well, funny enough, upon restarting this game in preparations for Nintendo's upcoming sequel, something about this game occurred to me that really hadn't crossed my mind before. In this video, I'm going to explain how Breath of the Wild shows you the way towards being a better person. There is a well-known idea in psychology referred to as Maslow's hierarchy of needs, generally depicted as a pyramid. The idea is that while ascending the levels of this pyramid, it is necessary to acquire and maintain the base levels before one can ascend to higher levels. A bit of disclaimer for those well-versed in Breath of the Wild's world. This analysis is looking at someone's first playthrough who is determined to free the Divine Beast and recover the memories. These aspects, while not necessary to take on Ganon, does help to immerse the players as Link and works to attain self-actualization. But I'm getting ahead of myself. After all, we need to start at the base of the pyramid, for this game, as well as for our world. The first level of the pyramid refers to our physiological needs, such as food, water, and shelter. Once you awaken, it becomes readily apparent how necessary these are. You need food so that you can recover hearts should you take any damage. Or you can do this by going to an inn and resting, therefore finding shelter. This is the most basic level for Link, because he cannot go on if his hearts reach 0, something that is possible even without meeting any enemies to fight. It can occur solely based on the environment around him or his navigation of the terrain. Which brings us to the next level of the pyramid. Safety needs. Post-Calamity Hyrule is a dangerous place. There are monsters around every turn, deadly environments, storms, assassins out to dispatch the long-lost hero. It's not easy being green. The safety needs for Maslow's pyramid in our world generally follow our society. Personal security, resources, employment, etc. Link, however, doesn't live in our world, and as such his safety needs are quite different, but very well defined in my opinion. Link's safety needs are only met when he goes to acquire the plethora of weapons and armor. There are armor sets for every situation in this game. There is armor that makes you warm, armor that makes you cold, shockproof armor, fireproof armor that helps you climb faster, and much, much more. Not to mention armor that raises your defense. With an equal or larger variety of weapons from swords and spears to bows in this game as well. Now, that may sound appealing, but this is not to say that having the armor makes the game too easy, and therefore getting specific objects will make life easy. For one thing, some very needed armor sets are not readily available at all. One example that has caused a lot of players' frustration is the fact that the armor needed to safely traverse Death Mountain is located within Death Mountain. For another example of this not making life easy, I think this game's weapons present the clearest argument for maintenance of the base levels. All weapons in this game, barring the iconic Master Sword, do break and it is your job to acquire new ones and to be prepared for when they do break. Even the famed Master Sword does become unusable after sustained use. The time can be shrunk under specific conditions, but never completely removed. As hard of a base as this is for Link to achieve, he does get to a point of ascension onto the next one, as people who have beaten the game can attest. So what lies next for Link? Belongingness and love. Breath of the Wild's Hyrule, for as majestic and beautiful of a place as it is a lonely one, at least for our hero. He is sent on this mission by the literal ghost of his past, and knows very few people who even survived the calamity, let alone the following 100 years. Zelda is using all of her power to contain the calamity, and the other champions passed on during the attack. Belongingness and love is the next step on this pyramid. In contrast to the last step, both Link and ourselves seek the same thing from this base. In our world, we can achieve this step through friendships, family, and significant others. For Link, he is seeking just these same people, and while they have gone on, he does request the assistance of each of their ancestors in recapturing the Divine Beast, forming new connections along the way. On top of this, he is able to communicate with the spirit of each departed champion, giving him the closure he needs and the abilities special to each of them to further assist him on his journey. As part of this step, he also seeks out his lost memories by returning to familiar sites across Hyrule, remembering who he is and receiving the champion's tunic upon his remembering of all of them. It's an incredibly difficult journey for anyone, and it can certainly teach someone who they are, which brings us to our next step of the pyramid. This step right here. This is honestly what most people are looking for when they boot up this game, or most games, for the first time. The drive to play a game like this one comes from an idea. You want to be the hero, you long to be the one who saves Hyrule at its darkest hour. The champion of the wild, one who is able to rise up against the great calamity. On some level, in some form, that's what we all want. We don't all have the same dream as Link in the game, but the fundamental idea to know and to be certain of who we are, who we want to be, and take steps in order to get there, and be recognized as such. And the majority of your time playing Breath of the Wild as Link will be spent working to achieve this step. Most of the game's challenges, the 120 shrine trials, each granting Link more power, undoing the corruption of the divine beasts in order to stop the calamity, solving the problems of the various races across Hyrule. These are all done in the name of esteem. He seeks to be the hero, the one to save Zelda and Hyrule, because that's who he is. In the franchise's lore, the spirit of the hero is reincarnated each time, and he is the latest one in this long line of heroes. And if that is the case, he is going to be the best one that he possibly can, bringing us to our final step. Self-actualization. Once you take on Calamity Ganon, you are able to defeat him with Zelda by your side and seal him away once again, together with the assistance of the 4 departed champions, making this a much easier process than it would have been otherwise. At this point, Link's esteem has reached its ascension point, where all that's left for him is to be the best version of himself. In the base game, he goes about this by working together with Zelda to rebuild Hyrule, and in the process, presumably, becomes King of Hyrule, although this remains to be confirmed. Something to look forward to in the sequel. While the actions taken differ from our own world, this is the path of Maslow's pyramid. Link has done it, and I truly believe that everyone watching at home can do it too. Go out there and be the best person you can. And remember, it's dangerous to go alone, so take this knowledge with you.